What are some things science still can't explain? The placebo effect works, even when the person knows it's a placebo. Here's the craziest part. Even if your comment isn't true, from now on, the placebo effect will always work on me, even if I know it's just a placebo effect, simply because I believe your comment to be true. How anesthesia works. We still don't fully understand how it works, yet trusted enough to use it to help in surgery. Well, more in the sense that we don't know how consciousness works, so how do you describe a lack of it in a general sense? With respect to general anesthesia, we do have a reasonable idea about how a lot of them work, in that we have a lot of information about the receptors and ion channels that they act on, and specific regions of the brain that they reliably repress. I'd probably more describe it as a lack of knowledge about how consciousness arises, because depending on your semantic definition of work, we do know how a lot of anesthetics work. The consciousness minimum. How many neurons can we disconnect before self-awareness ceases? There are people with disconnected hemispheres, people with lobotomies, people with massive surgically extracted portions of gray matter who function. If we kept sanding it down to the most necessary bits for just that rudimentary awareness, how small would that pile be? I once read about a guy whose brain matter got slowly eaten away by an illness, like over the course of many, many years, but he didn't notice it because the remaining parts of his brain just overtook the job. As they finally discovered it, there was more fluid than brain matter in his head. Spooky, but also super fascinating. The secret behind male nipples. Sure, we know how they formed, but we have yet to tap into and utilize their dormant, secret power. Why people born blind seem to be immune to schizophrenia. So, funny enough, I recently read up on the studies done on this, and the way they went about testing this was not very well done. Pretty much, they never had big enough test groups to actually make any statements on whether people born blind are immune. And to add to that, a very, very small population is actually born with complete blindness. So the fact that schizophrenia affects about 0.32% of the world, it would make sense that the two occurring together is quite rare. If 1% of people were born with 6 toes and none of those 1% develop schizophrenia, it would be false to say no one born with 6 toes has schizophrenia. Anyway, pardon my rant. These are just one of those things where someone took two things, found a way to connect them, and ran with it. Dark matter composition. Dark matter's exact nature remains elusive to scientific explanation. We have lots of explanations for dark matter. We just don't know if any of them are right. Big Bang. It's the earliest measurable event in time, not a theory of origin. What caused it? What happened before it? If anything at all happened before it, are all educated speculations, based on currently available information. Most things relating to the brain, even the serotonin theory about depression has never been even remotely proven. It's just a hypothesis that people have latched onto. We really don't understand much about the human brain, especially as it regards to mental health. Robert Sapolsky has a great lecture on depression, where he goes through the history of thinking and the different models of depression. His entire human behavioral biology lectures are incredible. Déjà vu. Most of my déjà vu moments I can tell distinctly are memories, usually of dreams. One day I'll have a dream about an odd set of specific events, and it just goes into the back of my head. Then it happens, and I go, "Oh, yeah, I saw this once." That's exactly how it happens to me. I call it totally useless precognition, and it's happened my whole life. I experience the most mundane situations in advance. Yawn chain reactions. Last thing I read was within primate populations, where it was thought to be reactions of empathy, where the troop would mimic the yawn as a sign of group adhesion. But what's fascinating is that in humans, there is a theory that those on the sociopath spectrum don't yawn at all, and if they do, it comes out as clunky, because they are acting to fit in. That's kept me up over the years, trying to think of all the awful people I know, and if they have ever yawned. Consciousness. So far, we think consciousness is an emergent property, not really as parts of the brain evolved, learned new things, and adapted new features. Eventually, consciousness emerged to handle and process all these resources properly and efficiently. It allows living things to take a second and really think things through, instead of relying on robotic instinct alone. With humans possessing so many evolution points invested in the brain's development, specifically emotions and problem-solving, it's no wonder why human consciousness is the strongest. In other words, you are only conscious because your brain needs you there to reach its full potential correctly. And if you didn't have all those fancy brain folds, your brain probably wouldn't need you to be aware this much, and you wouldn't exist, as you'd be unnecessary.
Why sandwiches taste better when made by someone else?
Researchers posit that extended exposure to the sandwich as you make it makes it less alluring. I was told growing up that it was because our sense of smell is linked to our sense of taste. And if you cook a meal, you've been smelling it and all the ingredients for an extended period of time, so it's less novel when it's time to eat it. I'm not sure if that's scientific or not, just what I was told.
The purpose of dreaming and the science behind its occurrence.
I've always heard that is the brain trying to cope, file away what we experience. If that's the case, why am I experiencing multiple zombie apocalypses? Lol. Is it really something we don't know? It's not like our brains turns off while we sleep. We keep thinking at all times. So an intuitive interpretation is that dreams are just our thoughts, but since we are actually sleeping, they aren't as coherent. And since our senses aren't being stimulated, we emerge deeper in our thoughts.
People driving slowly in the left lane.
It's because they are making a left turn, 7 miles down the road.
Black holes.
What there was before the Big Bang. I think the whole before the Big Bang thing is more philosophical than scientific. I don't believe science will ever have an explanation for that, or at least no explanation that we could possibly comprehend with our human brains.
How you get an even number of socks in the dryer, but an odd number comes out.
You can't explain that. What's even worse is when you get one extra.
The axis of evil in cosmology.
And in general, the presence of galaxy superclusters larger than the maximum size predicted by the Baryon Acoustic Oscillation (BAO) model. One half of the sky is slightly warmer than another. There are no known physics that could cause this. The BAO model predicts that the largest structures in the universe should have a maximum size because they formed from acoustic oscillations in primordial plasma, which was frozen in place by the expansion of the universe. This scale is approximately 500 million light-years, and yet there are lots of structures larger than this, including the entire sky itself.
If you have stories you'd like to share, don't hold back, drop them in the comments. Also, let me know what topics interest you most. I'd love to read through them. See you soon, not goodbye.